Feeling weird about husband's response to, "What made you fall in love?" question. I am having a hard time trying to understand why I'm bothered by this, so maybe I'm overreacting or overthinking it, but let me start with context. Today my husband, 30 male, and I, 30F, were having a conversation with my family and we were talking about how my husband was popular growing up and has always gotten a lot of attention from women etc. My stepmom then chimes in and asks, "So what made my name special? Why'd you pick her?" Note this sounds like a weird, blunt question, but you kind of have to know her to know this is how she operates, and she wasn't being mean or rude whatsoever, just inquisitive. And then my husband said, "She's special because she stuck around." I tried to push her away like I do to most people, but she stayed. I know he didn't mean to say anything hurtful, and maybe again this is just me overthinking, but for some reason that answer just keeps replaying in my head. I want to be loved for who I am. Not what I have to offer someone else, but maybe that's part of who I am. We've been together for almost 10 years and he has said stuff like this before, like, "The thing he loves most about me is how well I love him, and I do love him so incredibly much." But those statements for some reason just make me feel a little sad. I'm not sure why I'm shouting this into an anonymous sea of strangers, but I suppose I'm just looking for some thoughts outside of my own head. It sounds very close to him saying that you made him believe in love. You should ask him, but you need to be in a confident mindset first. He's recognizing great qualities about you in that statement. Strength, resilience, loyalty. Tell him how this makes you feel. Many of my boyfriend's compliments were once like this, and I wanted to know what about me inherently did he like. I told him I was more than what I gave him, and it flipped a switch in his head. Of course for him, he was trying to tell me how much value I had. I just wanted to hear it in different words. Now when we compliment each other, we compliment both who we are and what we do for each other. That way, both of our love languages are accommodated for. Communication is key, my friend. My 30F family is making me choose between them or my boyfriend, 30M. I, 30F, have been dating my boyfriend, 30M. Let's call him Charlie, for just over a year. My mother, 65F, and I were talking about Christmas and what our plans were. I had invited Charlie to Christmas last week and I relayed this to my mother. Christmas is going to be hosted at my aunt's mother's sister. I was then informed by my mother that Charlie is not welcome at my aunt's for Christmas. There was an incident that happened in the summer which my mother and aunt found out about, and ever since then, my relationship with both has changed for the worst. Long story short, Charlie likes to leave bite marks on my breasts, and he left quite a few, and they both saw and were disgusted, jumped to conclusions, and things have been extremely rocky since then. I attempted to defuse the situation at the time, but my mother was having none of it and has been threatening to tell my father, 65M, ever since. My mother and aunt vehemently believe that I am being abused and beaten, which is so far from the case. For the record, Charlie does not leave marks on me anymore. My aunt then went home and told her husband, my uncle, about what she saw, and now he also hates Charlie. Charlie and his family already suspect that my family does not like him. Charlie's mother is constantly making comments about his lack of coming over to my house to build a relationship with my family, comments about me hanging out with one of my brothers and Sil and not extending the invitation to Charlie. To be honest, Charlie's mother sticks her nose in our relationship and it is quite exhausting, but this is a completely different issue. My mother told me in September that no one in my immediate family likes Charlie, not for the reason above but for other reasons. I am just feeling very hurt and upset about the whole situation. My mother proceeded to gaslight, manipulate me. This is how it came across to me, by telling me this may be one of my father's last Christmases. He has had 3 mini-strokes in the past year, has issues with his balance, memory, speech. This is going to sound bad, but he really is totally and completely fine. That none of my brothers, I have 4, will ever treat him as a friend or family except for maybe when she is dead, and that Charlie is just a boyfriend, and not my fiancé, husband. She also threw in that next year when I have my own place I can do whatever I want, come to family functions when I feel like it, I can go, no communication with everyone if I want to, etc. I was honestly just shocked and did not say anything. I have been trying really hard over the last 6 months to mend relationships, to fix things, to be more present at home. I was spending a lot of time at my boyfriend's house and with his family and have scaled back drastically. And for this to be dropped on me is just such a blow. The conversation ended with my mother giving me an ultimatum: Christmas at my aunt's without Charlie, or Christmas with Charlie and his family. How am I supposed to show my face at my aunt's house after this? How am I supposed to face Charlie's family? Do I go to Christmas at my aunt's house without Charlie by uninviting him? I just do not know what to do because either way, I disappoint someone very important to me and I end up very hurt, heartbroken. Seems that lacks info. Why did they saw your breasts? Why didn't they believe you? Why are you afraid they tell your dad? What are the other reasons they don't like Charlie? Read Ops comments. He was 2 hours late meeting parents, excuse. Video games and traffic. He makes jokes at Ops' expense around family. He's rude in general at family gatherings. He gives Op the silent treatment during fights. And she describes this 30-year-old man as capable of being mature. I guess just not around her family? What a fucking winner. No wonder Op wants to give up everything for this guy. Woman facepalming, medium light skin tone. He belittles you at family events, and you can't understand why your family doesn't like him. It's because they are on your team, they want what is best for you, and they see that he treats you poorly. Consider also that you and boyfriend are in early stages of your relationship, and he is meeting family for the first time. This is his best behavior. Fiancé is convinced he's making progress, changing when he's not. My F30 and my fiancé, M30, have been together for 12 years. For the last 6-8 years we've had basic issues with him being oblivious to when his chores, he only has 2 chores, cat box and trash, need to be done, and communication issues. Basic shit like he needs to be told 8 times to pick something up off the floor that he dropped or take out the trash that is piling up and smelling, or to do something else I asked him to do that he agreed to do. I do the vast majority of the domestic and mental stuff while he works. We've long established that these things are a problem and he needs to work on them. The new problem is he thinks he's improved when he hasn't. It goes like this. We fight, he improves for a few days or a couple weeks in one particular area while ignoring most of the other areas, and then stops. I put up with it for a week or 2, and get angry and call him out, we fight. Repeat. Only now a big part of our fights are about him thinking he's changed or made progress, when he absolutely has not. Change to me means something sustainable. It means you've changed for a long period of time and can mark that change. I have explained this to him and he's aware of how I define change. He has no answer when I ask him how he's changed or improved in a significant way, but insists that he's improved and changed and doing better. Again, without any evidence he can provide, and having recently gone back to his old ways. To a certain extent I blame myself, because when he first started really trying to improve, I would try to encourage him by telling him how great he was doing, even though it was a short-term change. I had hoped over time it would move into a long-term change. Instead it seems to have made him think that a very basic effort that doesn't accomplish anything is some great feat, or like he's doing so much more than he is. I don't know what I need to do or say to get through to him, but I have been seriously thinking of leaving him because of this. Does anyone have any advice that doesn't involve just leaving him? Has anyone dealt with this before? It's extremely hard to convince someone who thinks they're putting in all this effort, that they're not. Too long did not read. My fiancé thinks that he has made major, sustainable, changes to correct behaviors he has acknowledged are unacceptable, when he has only made changes for a few days or weeks at a time. How do I talk to him and get him to understand that he hasn't actually improved, and so needs to actually make an effort? Edit. Thank you all for the help and advice everyone. I really appreciate it. I'll try to reply to everyone, but honestly I'm getting a bit overwhelmed. Why are you arguing with this man about whether he has evidence that he has changed when you know he hasn't? You're literally wasting your life. There is no magic strategy that remains unknown to you that will make this person be an equal partner. He has to choose that. He believes this is good enough when you've told him for the better part of a decade that it's not. You can't change him, you can only leave him. You've taken the role as his mother. A grown adult shouldn't need someone to remind him to clean, do chores, etc. Do you want to live with this forever? Also, he should be doing more than just trash and the cat box. You've been with him for 12 years and it's been a problem all this time? He isn't going to change. He is always going to put the household chores on you, either because he is just a slob, or his parents raised him that way. Give it up, Op. You have never had another adult relationship. It's time to start over. Met with pregnant ex-girlfriend and not sure how to proceed. TLDR. Met with ex-pregnant ex-girlfriend and she sends me a message 2 days later, need advice. So my ex, 25 female, and I, 32 male, We're dating for 6 months, which ended abruptly over something trivial. Apparently she got the ick. I confronted her about something that bothered me and was thinking of breaking up with her over it, but she was the one who initiated it in the end. A week later I get a call telling me she's pregnant, and I won't go into details, but it's very likely to be mine because of certain circumstances. Both our families know. It's been 3 weeks since the breakup, and we met the other day as she started to message me. Who knows? Maybe we will end up getting back together. Discussing us was on the table in the meet. The meeting went well and we talked about the baby and had a laugh, etc., and of course the topic of dating had to be brought up by her. I do still have feelings for her and we did click, etc. Today I got a message and I'm not sure how to respond. I know she's probably going through the nausea, etc., and maybe feeling a little pressure about us dating again. She was the one who mentioned it on the night, that it was almost like a first date again as we had food, etc. I'm not sure how to reply to the message as it is almost a veiled threat, but I don't want to put unnecessary pressure on her. At the same time I'm a bit pissed, to be honest, as it come across as controlling. You're allowed to do X, but if you do, Z will happen. The message is below and I would like advice on how to respond. She knows I don't like these sorts of messages in text, so I am half tempted to call her. Please advice on how to respond or proceed. Message. Hi. I've been thinking since we met. You're chatting to people and obviously want to be with someone. I'm pregnant and not feeling 100%. I'm not in the mindset to date right now at all. I just need some time until I get further along in the pregnancy. When I get to 12 weeks I will feel better X. It's up to you if you see, but she is having nothing to do with my baby X. I wouldn't date anyone other than you, so don't get the wrong end of the stick. But I know you won't want to wait, so if anything progresses with anyone they just can't be around the baby X. People that get onto co-parenting relationships usually do ask for restraint on bringing new partners around their children. You should probably define this in the custody agreement. Make sure that baby is yours first. So she's what? 6 to 8 weeks pregnant? She's likely feeling nauseous, insecure, scared, and her whole body is changing. Her hormones will also be making her more emotional. Of course, since you know her, you're able to judge if she's a controlling person, but for now I'd assume that the text she sent was more of an attack of jealousy on her part, and I wouldn't immediately think that she's trying to control you. She was probably thinking about how the pregnancy is going to change her body, and the other girl won't have that problem. It'll be quite some time until the baby arrives, and there's time enough for the two of you to decide how you're going to proceed going forward.